Hello, happy Friday. All right, I want to talk a little bit about if you are in your adoption journey, what to expect. I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can. I know a lot of people are asking, I see questions all over the place. Where can I sign up? What agencies can I sign up with? Even though things feel really slow and a little bit grim, um, we still managed four of our families adopted this past month. So that's awesome. And we also welcomed in about 10 new families. That doesn't surprise me because right now there's so many adoptive families and many less adoption situations than we have ever seen, at least in my 8 years of doing this. It's interesting to see how things have changed so much. Um, when I started in this business about 8 years ago, yeah, I'm coming on to 8 years, and I adopted 2 years prior to that. If you were a white family wanting a white baby with no drugs, we still called that a unicorn, but it was possible. Now it's not possible. Um, we are thick in the opioid epidemic. I just heard something somewhere, I don't remember where it was, that said fentanyl is quickly becoming a more popular drug now. So just know that and maybe do some research on that. And I have seen it pop up more and more. So many adoptive families and not as many women making adoption plans, which has resulted in agencies across the country shutting down their lists. They are maxed out. They have way more families than they ever will do adoptions this year. And so they've closed their list, which leaves very few places that people can go apply. I actually just talked to an agency today who's like, I need families, but they're $14,000 to sign up. So if you're like just wanting to sign up with one agency, you might be able, at a high upfront cost and put all your eggs in one basket, you might be able to find an agency to do so. But it still doesn't change the fact that adoptions are way down. So what I'm telling people, I still think a multi-agency approach is the way to go if you can get on a list. And I also think, I am a consultant, so I'm going to say this, I also think still working with a consultant is a really good idea as well. Because none of us expect this to last forever. So what's going to happen as things start to change and get a little bit more normal is that if you are on a list or if you are like prepared, meaning you've done all your education stuff, you have your profile, you have your home study, maybe you've started to see a trickling of situations, and then an agency does open up, you can slide in as things are picking up. Plus, as consultants, we get situations sent to us from time to time, maybe from an agency that charges $14,000 to get on their list, so you would never get on their list, and yet they need they need some families that they don't have on their list, so they'll reach out to consultants. And you happen to be there with that consultant. So you almost have to consider working with a consultant. If you're thinking about getting on lists, right? Getting on agency lists, the consultant is one of those lists per se. Is that making sense to you? I have a situation I'm trying to present for and things are coming in. What I'm saying now is go ahead and sign up with a consultant. Go ahead and start the process, but I'm going to back up in a second. You've heard me say this before. So that you can start getting the support you need to be fully ready to engage once situations do start coming to you. However, I do not advise you to go get a home study just to start the process without knowing where you're going to be active, like with what agency you're going to work with, unless you plan on doing it independently, which isn't a bad way to start right now. To do your own independent marketing, you do have to be careful. There's a lot of scammers out there who know the drill, but you could do that. And I don't normally, but I kind of encourage you to do that on top of trying to get in with agencies. So what I'm telling people now is, and some people might disagree, and it goes against everything I normally would tell clients, but right now I'm like, the name in the game is to get on any list you possibly can, because if you're not on a list, you're not seeing situations. If you're on a list, even if it's with 200 people and they do 5 placements in a year, you have a chance of seeing a situation and being picked. You have no chance if you're not on the list. So obviously you want to be strategic and figure out which lists you want to get on. But if it's an agency who typically does a good number of adoptions in a year, even if they have an ungodly amount of people on their list, they're most likely going to pick up at some point, and adoptions are not stopping right now. I just told you in 1 month we had 4 adoptions. That's a pretty good month, even in a good year. So go get on a list. And don't worry about all the things. You still want to know how, and this is where a consultant comes in. If a situation comes to you, you still want to know how to vet the situation. You want to know that you're with an ethical agency, of course. So how to do that vetting. You want to start getting educated on all the things. I told you fentanyl is a new drug, right? So you want to start getting educated on what drug exposure means. What are some of the more common mental health issues you might see? All the things. Transracial adoption, doing some of that homework. So there are things you can do to get yourself moving in the process to set you up for success when things pick up. Now, I know the video on my website still says that most of our clients will adopt within 3 to 9 months. That is off the table. I have not updated that video yet, and I desperately need to. I don't know. I cannot guarantee if I'm working with you as a family, and this is not a plea, I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what's going on right now, no matter where you are and what you're doing in the process. I am telling people now, I can't guarantee that when you are ready to sign up with your agencies, that there's going to be one agency for you to sign up with. I don't know. It seems as if every day I'm getting a new call or a new email or a new text from a client saying this agency is no longer accepting families. But then one opens up for a week and then we slide people in because we have those relationships. It's an interesting world. We are seeing way more babies born than I have ever seen. Older babies, anywhere from a few months old to up to 10 years old. We're seeing more of that in private adoption than I've ever seen since I started. So there are some interesting trends that we're starting to see. Situations are still trickling into us as consultants, which means agencies are still from time to time needing to reach beyond their own lists. There are a few agencies who are still taking families. They probably have 150 families on their list already. And there are agencies who are keeping it really slow, but are also seeing very few situations. And the other thing is start building community, right? So if you're in it and you're feeling really heavy right now, make sure you're in a really safe community. If you're looking for a community and you're a hopeful parent, I run a group called the Adoption Roadmap. It's for hopeful parents only, and it's education and community. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it is called the Adoption Roadmap : something. Education and community for hopeful parents, I think. We only allow hopeful parents in there. If you happen to be a birth mom or adoptee or adoptive parent already, great, but you also have to be in the process of adopting. We just want to keep it really comfortable for the people going through the process and the issues that they are dealing with. And we want a safe space to be able to celebrate also all the small little steps and little wins along the way. Because you deserve that, and so does your future child. It will happen. Hang in there. build your community, keep educating yourself, get on whatever lists you can, start the process, sign up with a consultant if that's what you want to do. And those are my tips. That's what I've got for you today. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Make sure to stop and be grateful for the little things in your life and make it a great weekend. Until next week. Bye.